Hey, I wanted to do a quick little video. Of course, my quick little videos never turn out to be all that quick, apparently so. Anyway, one of the first times, I actually noticed the past few shoots, but over the weekend, I shot 10 hours Saturday and 6 hours on Sunday. But I found that basically 90% of my shooting was with the two new Tamrons. The 1530 2.8 and the Tamron 70 to 200 2.8. The only reason I wasn't using the Nikkor 80 to 200 was because I was actually going to shoot some action and I needed a lot faster autofocus. But I've stated that before. I mean, the 80 to 200 is not made for very fast autofocus or for sports shooting. So I'm gonna have to stop calling Tamrons tampons, I guess. Tamron and Sigma, you know, for the 22, 23 years ago that I was selling them for years, they kind of been neck and neck as far as quality control. Tamron was always slightly ahead of Sigma. But nothing has really changed with Sigma. Like I said, all the Sigmas from 20 years ago, they're all dead. Or forward compatibility has rendered them totally worthless wall art, and they're junk. And you can't say that of the Nikkor lenses. Tamron, on their latest lenses in the past 2+ years, have really upped their game, and Sigma's in deep crap. They're in deep trouble. I'm actually, if I were a betting person, I'm certainly not. I'm thinking Sigma's going to lose their ass. I'm extremely certain if I had to invest money in Sigma or Tamron, I would be putting all my money into Nikon. But now, between the two of them, I'd be putting all the money into Tamron. Sigma really is up the creek without a paddle. Their quality control is not improved at all. Now they have a cult following. Like there's a fanboy cult that surrounds Sony mirrorless, but there's also this sick little fanboy cult that surrounds the Art series of lenses. But I gotta tell you something about the Art series of lenses, okay? And you can do your own research on this if you want. The reject rate is extremely high. The quality control is extremely low. Their aperture assemblies are very poor. If they're shot in continuous high or continuous low, they very easily build up a harmonic. What they do is they crash and fold on each other. You can do research on this as well. They are poor construction. People that are even in the Sigma fanboy cult will actually tell you that they're constantly calibrating their Sigma lenses, and or they have to be calibrated out of the box, which, you know, superficially would be not a super huge big deal, but a lot of them actually have to be calibrated far too much one way or far too much the other way outside the scope of what calibration allows for, and then they have to be returned, and that is asinine. Sigma's quality control is horrific. Now I'll give you a link below to the Sigma. Like one of the main Sigma lenses that people praise, and it's basically $1,000, which is the biggest pile of crap. I mean, it's not perplexing crap. It's a sick little fanboy cult. Like the Sigma 50mm f1.4 DG HSM Art lens. Of course, by the way, Art means nothing. Okay. Now it does have a metal chassis on the barrel, but none of that contributes to how good the lens is built. That just means that Sigma put a more expensive barrel chassis on the lens. But the term Art means jack crap. It means nothing. It's nothing other than a pathetic marketing gimmick. But I'll give you the link below to the Flickr page for this lens. Now, some people are not used to looking at images in a broad term. They'll actually look at the specifics in an image. But you actually have to defocus your eyeballs when you look at the images, like you look into a magic 3D painting where you actually see through it, or you defocus your eyes and you're actually able to see the constituents of what make up the picture. And then what will happen is you'll actually see the quality of what it produces. Now this quality is valid if that's what you're going for, Well, what happens is it produces a very soft, very poor color saturation, and it is also, Sigma will not tell you this, you won't read it anywhere either. Sigma built into the, another way, this lens has 13 elements, which is 6 elements more than a 50mm needs to have. So it's got 13 nasty ass elements in it. But what Sigma built into it is they actually built in a cyan filter. Okay? And what that does is that it stops red, because a lens with that much glass in it actually retards blue and green. So they built in a cyan filter to stop too much red saturation, which is why the reds on this art lens are always washed out. Unless, of course, in some of the pictures you see that they aren't, but those have been color corrected. If you actually look over all of them, you'll actually see on the Flickr page what I saw when I had use of the lens is that the reds are washed out, but all the images, you'll notice, are tilted heavily towards the cyan. Now that is a type of artistic effect. It gives you a creamy pastel image. But if I want that, I'll stick it in post. I don't want it in my damn lens, and the Sigma lens has it in there. It has a cyan shift, which allows for the passage of blue and green. You know, the combination of blue and green together give you the perception of a cyan. And that's what these Sigma lenses have. So they have poor quality control, extremely high reject ratio, bad construction on the aperture assembly. They're not forward compatible over many years. They're just not. And that lens for $1,000 is the most insanely... The 35, well, not the 35mm, but since we're talking about 50mm, the 50mm f1.4 will blow the hell out of it. Now, does the 50mm Sigma f1.4 DGHSM art lens have better corner to corner sharpness? It does. But what you have to understand is that if you own enough lenses, you understand enough about optics, aspherical elements, and ED glass, and there's 1,000 optical characteristics. No glass, no lens, when I say glass I mean lens, has it all. Everything is weighted currently by manufacturers towards 3 things: elimination of chromatic aberration, increased corner-to-corner sharpness, in general overall sharpness. But it's ridiculous to think any single lens has it all, because none of them do, no matter how much they cost. It doesn't matter if it's a Zeiss Otis or a crappy made Sigma, which they are still crap. Tamron is about to pounce their ass. Tamron right now is ready. It is stepping right on the skull of Sigma, and they're ready to, to blow them out of the water. They are. I can see it. I see what's going on, and I see what's coming. Sigma is in trouble, and they damn well know it. But no lens has everything. It's like somebody that wants Army BDUs, but they want to wear something that is as soft as silk underwear or something. It's not a possibility. You can't have Army BDUs for going through a war zone, and something as comfortable as wearing silk... No, that's not what I wear. Something as comfortable as wearing silk pajama underwear. You can't have the best of both worlds, and the same is 100% true in optics. Despite the developments in the past 50, basically everything changed about 15 years ago. Nothing magical has happened in 10 or 15 years as far as optics are concerned. You can't have it all in lenses. You can't. It doesn't matter what lens it is. This is why people fight over what's the best telephoto. Well, is it the Nikkor 7200? Is it the 80-200? Is it the Tamron 7? The answer is yes to all of those and no to all of those, because they each have their own special characteristics. Some of them kind of take the high road or the middle ground, and they have kind of good characteristics all around, but those are very few. And so far as lenses that have both ends of the spectrum, those are non-existent. They don't exist. Neither Zeiss, nor Canon, nor Nikon, nor Tamron, nor Sigma. Nobody makes it. It doesn't exist. You cannot at the same time wear, war zone army fatigues and something that's also silk underwear at the same time. And as far as my analogy goes, when it comes to optics, it doesn't exist. But anyway, check out the link below, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But this lens for $950, I mean, it's crap. It's just crap. It's not worth it. It's poor construction, bad quality control. I know if you open up any magazine, photography magazine, Sigma has dumped, just like Sony has got a lot of paid shills and puppets with their hands up their asses. Sigma has a lot of magazine. Oh, there's the Sigma art lens. And it's just marketing BS. That's all it is. The lens is not art anything. In fact, it's just as inferior as the rest of the Sigma lenses. And the fact that most of them need heinous calibration out of the box is ridiculous. And many of those need calibration past the point where you got to calibrate them too far one way or the other, then you're screwed. Then you got to send it back. Very, very bad quality control. The worst thing, and you'll see in the Flickr link, is just unfocus your eyes from all the pictures. Don't look at the picture. Look at the overall constitution of the picture, and you'll see what I'm talking about. They're very, very, very heavily cyan shifted, and they're crappy lens. If you like that, it gives it a great, a soft pastel, eerie glow, a mist to the pictures, which is artistic in its own way. If you want that, you can add that in Photoshop or Lightroom. But I don't want my lens producing it, and that's what the lenses do. They're actually purposely designed with a cyan filter in them, in the glass, to block out the excessive red, because they absorb so much blue and green normally that they have a cyan filter pass in there to allow enough blue and green to pass out the back end of the Sigma element so that the red, green, and blue are somewhere on an equal footing. But that isn't the case. A lot of the images are just very, they're heavily cyan shifted. Is the lens sharp? Yeah. Does it got good corner-to-corner sharpness? Yeah. It's got poor color saturation. It's got washed out red spectrum on the images, which is horrible. And they're heavily cyan shifted, and the quality control just sucks. It's not a $1,000 lens. You know, if you take the word hype off of it, it's nothing more than a slightly improved physical mechanics Sigma lens. Okay, so what Sigma did is they took the regular old crap, okay, they stuck another $60 per lens into it to give it a metal chassis to make it kind of look and feel like a Zeiss lens. But inside the optics and the aperture assembly is the same old poor quality control Sigma crap. And I don't care how many people that love that damn lens and the other Sigma art lenses. I know better. The lenses are overpriced crap. They're nothing other than a gold-plated turd. By gold-plated, I mean they've got a metal chassis on them, and they feel more professional. And then they stuck an art label to it, but that means nothing. It is marketing BS. That's all it is. So, but aside from all of that, Tamron is ready to kick their ass, and Sigma, you're in a lot of trouble because Tamron has stepped up their game so much more so that despite whatever it is you plan on doing in the near future, Tamron's going to crush your ass. I mean, they just are. Thanks for watching. That wasn't a rant, by the way.